Much indeed, Madam Chair. I'm speaking to new clause 6, and I have put it down to enable quicker action to support island and isolated communities. And I'd like to talk briefly about the clause and ask some questions of the front bench as well. Specifically put, the island is dependent on 3 private ferry firms. If staff from one or more of those ferry firms go ill with COVID-19 and we have an outbreak, there will be very serious consequences for the island. Competition law prevents the firms currently talking, and that is still the case despite 8 days of trying to get it moved. The basics of the clause are that it allows the relevant Secretary of State or the devolved administration to issue directions to allow the ferry firms to talk to each other, to potentially plan and potentially implement joint services for the purpose of resilience, for the provision of food, medicine and other essential goods, and the provision of passenger transportation. Despite the fact that we are an island, we need to stay open because we need food going out and we need food coming in. We need key workers going backwards and forwards, and we need people to continue to go to life-saving medical treatment in Southampton and Portsmouth. And if the ferry firms fall over, we can't do that. They are a true lifeline, and I think people don't realise that an island separated from a landmass without a fixed link, you need ferries. The Department of Transport understands the lifeline nature of our services and are doing a good job. BASE has not yet acted on it. I understand that officials are working up a SI, delegated legislation, and apparently there is a letter coming from the Secretary of State at some point. The CMA says it won't take action, but as of this evening, and I'm being texted by my ferry firms as we speak, they are still not willing to talk because, for compliance purposes, they need a letter from a government minister and a Secretary of State. What is critical here, and I want ministers to understand, is that I don't blame government. I know how stressed you are across the provision. This clause is designed to be helpful because it means effectively government diktat, a fiat, means that the government will allow the ferry firms to talk to each other, avoiding much of the bureaucracy which seems to take place at the moment by getting a statutory instrument in place. So I would be delighted if the government would either accept new clause 6 in its entirety, and I thank the Bill Office very much for their work, or if it is not going to, can a minister reassure me this evening that a Secretary of State will write a letter with the assurances that I need? Can somebody give me the assurance that the delegated legislation will be put down? And can somebody reassure me on medical supplies? For example, a consultant at my hospice today contacted me to say, if we run out of morphine on the island, can we give out other opiates? Because of the change in, because of a glitch in the system, nurses can give out morphine, but they can't give out other opiates. Thank you. Wilson.
Can I just answer this point, because you made this point during second reading, and I have checked the issue. The Department of Health and the NHS England are looking at this precise issue of being able to authorise other healthcare professionals to administer other opiates, and I am assured by my honourable friend that he will very shortly be getting a letter from the Secretary of State with regard to the Isle of Wight ferry issue. I do not know its contents. I am not briefed on that, but his lobbying has worked.